Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of CMP TV. I'm Paul Lucas, the managing editor of Canadian Mortgage Professional and Mortgage Broker News, and I have a question for you. How happy are you in your job? Let's be honest, we all like to moan a little about our employers. They don't pay enough, our hours are too long, they don't appreciate me, there's no opportunities for growth. We've all been there. Indeed, we've all probably sat around the dining room table with our partners in the evening and complained a time or two, or maybe more than a time or two. So imagine then if we liked our employer so much that we felt compelled to tell the world about it. Well, that's what a whole host of mortgage brokers did across Canada when voting for our Top Mortgage Employers 2021 list. And one of those mortgage employers is here on CMP TV to share with us why they have such a great relationship with their employees. And he is the CEO of Canadian Mortgages Inc., or CMI for short, Brian Jaskolka. So Brian, tell us your secret. What do you think has made you stand out as an employer?
I think there's a lot of things that make CMI unique as an employer. Certainly, there's a number of key qualities such as our culture of integrity, inclusivity, and excellence, which our staff, constantly mention as very important to them and something that they feel helps them to be really engaged with the corporation. We're also operating in a virtual environment, which, of course, for most people is pretty typical now in COVID, but even prior to COVID, CMI was a decentralized and distributed work environment. So we intend to continue with that model post-COVID as well. And our staff has constantly told us, both existing staff and people we meet through our hiring process, that the virtual environment really empowers our employees and provides flexibility. It allows freedom for our staff to sort of manage that work-life balance. And for us as an employer, it's really given us flexibility to hire people across the country. So, a lot of people may not realize, but CMI has staff in British Columbia, Alberta. We have staff in Ontario. We have staff in the Maritimes. So, we're very much a national organization at this point. And that sort of virtual environment has really helped us to grow without limiting our footprint, so to speak. We're also constantly innovating. So a lot of that is employee driven, and we really try and foster that continual process improvement mentality within the business, which I think has helped us to rapidly grow. But while we've done that, keep our staff really engaged. So, we're always striving to make employees' jobs easier, faster, more streamlined, more productive. And, we're not perfect. I don't think any business is perfect, but our staff appreciate that constant drive towards perfection, so to speak.
And obviously that working environment is very, very important indeed. But let's be honest with each other. I mean, none of us would really do our jobs unless we were getting paid for it, for example. So can you tell us a little bit about the sort of incentives and programs that you offer?
At CMI, we have a really flexible work schedule, and it's very much a results-driven environment. So, it's very typical for organizations to have salespeople, for example, set up on a performance basis. But, our entire corporate culture is really generated around a performance-driven model where, those who excel have a strong ability to not just earn more, but also improve within their careers, and sort of a natural progression within their own personal life. So, for example, we have a lot of staff who may have started in more junior administrative roles who have, become promoted as the company has grown. So while, of course, we always do look for great talent outside the organization, we're also very strong about promoting from within. Again, the flexible schedule, our holiday period is another sort of thing that is unique to CMI. So we generally will shut down at the holidays, after December 23rd and 24th for a couple of weeks. And this gives our staff an opportunity for some additional downtime, but that's above and beyond the typical vacation and other days that we provide them for personal time. So, we've got an above average level of vacation time. And we also offer paid time off for people who are involved with volunteering. So, we really try and foster a well-rounded atmosphere within our staff. And ultimately, we're very much an employee-driven sort of community support approach where we've got monthly contributions, being done by different staff to various charities and organizations and ourselves as a business. So, we really try and foster, obviously, the compensation is very competitive, but also other benefits, which I think people come to appreciate more than just purely dollars and cents.
I completely agree. Obviously, it's something that people are really, really looking for right now, especially around annual leave, for example, trying to get a really good work-life balance. Tell us a little bit more about your approach to not only annual leave, but also perhaps maternity leave and loyalty leave as well.
It's a challenge for a small business. A lot of these employment rules, and I think there's a very good reason why they exist, and they exist and operate very well when you're a multi-hundred or 1,000-person plus organization, right? IBM doesn't have any problem bringing people back from maternity leave, right? But when you're a business of 15, 20 people, where CMI originally came from as a small business, that can be daunting to a business owner. Personally, I'm really proud of the fact that we've, been able to put those programs in place. We actually have one of our staff members who just returned this week, in fact, from an extended maternity leave. We have a number of other staff off right now for maternity leave. Their roles are sitting there waiting for them upon return. So I think our growth culture, but also our forward planning when it comes to staffing allocations, we've really ensured that we build in that flexibility for people within part of our organization. We've also offered staff, where necessary, the ability to take leave of absence and then return to their roles. So I mean, we're very big on fostering and working with our staff to help ensure that we're working around life events that may happen to them. So I think that's something actually I'm particularly proud of at CMI. We've really been able to work with people and make that work for their schedules, but ours as well.
It was really interesting to hear you talk a little bit earlier about career growth as well. I mean, it's something that we hear a lot, don't we? Especially among millennials, that they get itchy feet. They want to progress very quickly. So how are you ensuring that they have those opportunities?
I can relate, as someone who is sort of part of that generation, and based on the growth of our company, clearly I have a mindset for my own personal improvement. That whole culture within CMI ultimately really fosters that growth atmosphere. So we're all about promoting people within. And I mean, I could sit here and tell you stories for hours about staff members who started as, part-time staff members and have very senior roles within our company now. So it's not, a lot of companies talk about the desire to help people progress in their careers. We're very big on fostering professional advancement through courses, which we help contribute to, through industry associations, through training, both internally and externally. And then ultimately it's really that drive. Like, we understand that, someone who joins our organization now is not going to want to be in that same role for 10, 15 years. So we build that right into our initial process when both we're interviewing them to understand what are their life goals and their career progression paths. And then we also run semi-annual performance reviews for them to help ensure that we're staying in alignment, both as a business and, as our staff, to see that we're progressing forward in a way that benefits both parties.
And I think that another thing that employees are increasingly looking for is to actually have a voice within their organization and ensure that the ideas are actually heard. So how are you making that a reality?
We kind of have a 3 A's principle. So, you've got awareness, accommodation, and availability. So we very much foster an open door policy. So, I'm always available. Our executive team is always available to the management and even to our staff base, where there's an ability to share ideas, discuss concerns, bring pain points, or offer support to other staff members. So we very much, right from the top down, we've fostered a collaborative environment where, even myself, I mean, I'm involved in many working groups, and often, we're taking ideas from other staff members put forward. So while obviously there is a management layer and an executive team behind CMI, it's very much a collaborative environment where, CMI is a team. And as much as, people from the outside may see us as this growing organization, we still very much think of ourselves as a small business very early in our growth life cycle. So, we're always encouraging staff to give feedback, generate employee-driven initiatives, and ultimately grow, refine our processes, policies, offerings, learn from our mistakes. And I think that's part of, what makes any business successful, but it really is ingrained within our corporate culture, which is we acknowledge we're not perfect. We're looking for those areas of opportunity, and ultimately we're very dedicated to trying to improve things for our staff as we can.
Great philosophy, and you've given us a lot of tremendous insights today. But if you could give perhaps one more piece of advice to other mortgage employers out there about attracting and retaining employees, what would that advice be?
Your staff is your single most important asset, and you need to treat them that way. If you take care of your employees, they're going to take care of your business, and they're going to take care of your customers. So making sure that you have people who are loyal, in it for the long haul, that have an alignment of principles with the business, and ultimately that are engaged, I think is really important. So we're obviously constantly hiring. At the same time, we're also not afraid to determine if it's not a mutual fit for someone. We have that conversation as well. But our first step is always to look at repositioning the staff member within our organization into a role that may fit their skills better. And we've been very successful with that as well. So, I think ultimately you have to look to bring on the right people, be prepared to pivot how you're working with them or their roles and responsibilities as necessary. And then ultimately, most importantly, you have to recognize technology, marketing. I mean, you have all sorts of things that you're doing within your business, but ultimately, we're in the service industry and our staff is the lifeblood of our company. And I think that people who don't recognize that within their own businesses are making a mistake.
Been an absolute pleasure to have you join us. I imagine there's probably a few people watching this thinking, I'd quite like a career at CMI now. So have your HR team ready for a CV bombardment. But when you finish sending your resumes, everybody, make sure you're right back here with us for more great insights from the best in the industry here on CMP TV.